Over the coming weeks, months, and years, we'll be discussing the history of Israel. This is not a podcast to say which side is right, which side is wrong. It's not a podcast to talk about the war which is happening in Palestine. It's just simply the history of Israel. Hi, this is the History of Israel podcast, an Eat My Own Beat podcast.
Welcome back to episode 49 of the History of Israel podcast. Beginnings of the Islamic Administration. Following the decisive Muslim victory at Yarmouk in 636 and the occupation of most of the Mediterranean coast of northern Syria in the next 2 years, the Muslims began to militarily and administratively organize the region for their needs. Caliph Umar, who ruled from Medina, visited the Muslims' army principal camp in Jabiya, the former Ghassanid capital, at least once before 637 and 639. From there, he personally oversaw the distribution of allowances and rations to the Muslim solidarity, tax collection from the conquered population, and the appointments to military command. There may have been initial Muslim intentions to establish a Jabiya as the permanent central garrison town of Syria, along the lines of those who later established and conquered regions of Iraq, Egypt, and Ifriqiya. Those garrison cities developed into major urban centers of the Caliphate. During one of his visits, or by 640 at the latest, the Central Army camp at Jabiya was disbanded by Omar. Instead, as a result of several factors, a self-supporting, more flexible military administrative system was established, according to the historian Alan Walmsley. Unlike Iraq and Egypt, where settlement was concentrated along the major rivers of those provinces, the Syrian settlement was distributed over extensive areas of mountains, valleys, and plains. The complex geography slowed communications and army movements in the region, necessitating multiple and regional centers for effective administration and defense. According to Walmsley, this was a principle confirmed by over 500 years of Roman Byzantine administration. The change of Muslim military objectives following Yarmouk would focuses shift from northern Syrian and Mediterranean fronts, also necessitated the establishment of additional army headquarters and garrisons such as Homs, diminishing Jabiya's centrality. Further producing troop numbers in Jabiya was the plague of Amwas in 639, which reduced the garrison there from 24,000 to 4,000. The decrease was likely due to the factors in addition to the plague. In late 639 or early 640, a significant number of Muslim troops also left Syria for the conquest of Egypt under Amir's command. Troop numbers in Jabiya could not be restored in the aftermath of the plague and the departure of the Muslim troops in other fronts. Unlike in Iraq, where there were high levels of Arab tribal immigration, similar immigration into Syria was restricted by the Qurayshite elite to bid and preserve their pre-established interest in the region. Syria had a substantial, long-standing Arab population, both in Damascus and Homs. Not long after Yarmouk, the Arab tribes of Syria were incorporated into the nascent Muslim military structure there. The native tribes had preference for the established urban centers with which they were long familiarized. Muslim settlements in the urban centers was facilitated by a wide availability of property in the cities in the wake of the conquest as a result of the exodus of the pro-Byzantine, Greek-speaking residents, or the property transfers to the Muslims secured in capitulation agreements. Muslim settlements in the hinterland, on the other hand, were limited to the Aramaic-speaking peasantry remained in their villages.
This has been the History of Israel podcast. Check back every Wednesday for new episodes. We're available on Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. We also have each episode streaming on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. We're available on eatmyownbeat.com as well as the History of Israel podcast on Facebook.